What's up, degenerates? This is Locked In. As per usual, I'm your host, Mason Cameron, at PFF_Mace on the Twitter. You can find it right there. We have a special show in the books for you tonight. If you caught the last show on Friday, or I guess just read the stream title, you know what's on tap. We're breaking down the PGA Tour FedEx Cup Playoffs. Joining me to do that is IN's lead golf writer and analyst, Travis Bagwell. How you doing today, Travis? I'm super excited to get to talk some golf with you tonight.
Doing great. Yeah, it's about time. So looking forward.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You write PGA Tour DFS picks for the site. I've had the pleasure of getting to see your work up close. And today we get to tap into that even a little bit more. And we have a lot on tap. I mean, have you been playing any golf recently, Travis?
Not lately. It's been pretty hot out here. So
You know what? I
100 degrees.
agree. For people who don't know, me and Travis are in the CO area, and it has been hot. I actually got a terrible sunburn over at the Broncos training camp. It was a bad idea. I've been inside for a couple of days, so I definitely didn't get to play any golf recently. But I'm excited to get back out there. It's been a wonderful summer full of golf. But let's talk a little bit about the PGA Tour. Which golfers have really impressed you this season on the tour?
The first one that came to mind was definitely Cameron Young. A rookie who I think he's in the top 15 in FedEx Cup points right now, and he's been unstoppable. He's going to get that first win any day now. Just been great to watch. Very exciting golf. Will Zalatoris, absolutely been on fire. I don't think anyone's got the season he does without a win. So that's another one that should definitely break out here, possibly even this weekend. So
yeah, it's going to be great to see. And anybody that watched the show on Friday when we played the Pup Cup, sponsored by Underdog, use promo code nonsense at Underdog Fantasy. If you guys want to play along too. Our guy Jason Draven, he really loved Cam Smith, and he took all the Camerons he could. I think it was just the Cameron effect. He loved it. I don't blame him. As a man of my own namesake, I really, I lean into it. So I really like that. I really like that pick.
There you go. I'm not a big Tampa Bay fan, but I love their initials. So
there we go. I like how that works out, right? So there's been a lot of great stuff that's happened throughout this season. Is there a single moment that stands out to you on tour as the highlight of the season, whether that be somebody taking home a major or just an overall great performance front to back?
You should definitely like this one. And back at the Open in Scotland, coming down, final hole, Cam Young needs an eagle to have any chance of winning, nails an impossible-looking eagle putt. Cam Smith follows it up with a birdie to seal the deal and win it. That was probably the best moment in literally 3 weeks ago. Looking back, the Honda Classic in the rain, Daniel Berger collapsed, the rain came in, Sepp Straka came and just took it, kind of a little bit of luck, a little bit of right time, right place. And those were probably the two biggest moments I liked this year. Final round, everything on the line, just kind of what you want to see in golf.
The cinematics of golf are just sometimes unmatched. You can't write this stuff down most of the time. And it's just always amazing to watch it all play out. And this has been a crazy season. So much has happened. For starters, let's talk a little bit about how this long of a tournament or how this long season has gone on. With a lot of these guys having cemented their spots in this playoff, they've taken the last few weeks off. Do you think that is an asset to somebody's game, or do you think that a layoff could potentially be a detriment to their rhythm?
I definitely could see it both ways, and it depends on the player, the time they've been on tour. You look at someone like Rory Mcilroy. We haven't seen him since the Open, and he played, I want to say maybe 10, 12 events throughout the whole year and excelled at almost every single one of them. And then you get guys like Saeed Theegala. He's played, I think, almost every event this year, and it almost seems like something he needs to do. So I think the younger guys can do it easier. The older guys, especially like you said, once they've cemented that spot, they know what they need to do. They know what they need to prepare for, and that's what they focus on. But I I think every golfer kind of does it their own way. They get with their team, see what's going to work best. And sometimes it works great. Sometimes you'll see a little rust need to be kicked off, but I don't think we'll be seeing that this week. So,
Yeah, these guys will definitely have to bring their A game because, this is a long event right here. This is a series of 3 events that guys have to get all the way through. It's not just one weekend anymore. So it's going to be extremely exciting to see who really steps up their game in this big field. Speaking of taking tournaments off, there's no way we could get away with not talking about it. But the controversy surrounding Live Golf and the PGA banning these players from the tour, and as a result, excluding a number of them from this championship tourney. 11 players have actually joined in an antitrust lawsuit hoping to overturn this. We don't really have much news on that right now. What is your whole take on this Live Golf situation and how this has affected the PGA, the players, and the game as a whole?
Well, in terms of the antitrust, I mean, I kind of take the PGA stance on this. They've known since June they've been suspended. They literally filed the motion this week. It seems kind of like wait till the end to hope the judge will just give them a stay, let them play, and then they can settle it later. I mean, if it was this big of an emergency, they would have filed this back in June. They would have filed it in July. I mean, they wouldn't have waited till August. So in that issue, I definitely see the PGA's take on it. I think a live type tournament could be good, some sort of competition, but I think it would have to get started from the ground up with the PGA. I mean, you look at like professional soccer in Europe, there's hundreds of leagues. They have interleague play, they have interleague contests, they mix and match them. It definitely can happen. I don't think the way Live has gone about it might not be the best business model, but I think it would be good for golf to see another league, like I said, one where they all compete for points. They all kind of schedule around one another. No one's stepping on each other's toes. Then you might be able to see real competition between tours where they both win. There's no real loser. Until that can happen, though, I don't know what's going to happen with Live, and especially with their 54-hole format teams. It's kind of apples and oranges almost. Yeah. I mean,
it's a different thing to take in altogether for sure. It's totally not what we're used to, but it's an interesting prospect that does bring to mind exactly what you said, is that another league, could potentially thrive in the market because golf is getting bigger and bigger every year. It's as big as it's ever been, and it's not going to slow down, and hopefully it can continue to grow the game. And that would be a great way to see it. I'd love to see it. More golf. I'm game for it. I love it.
Exactly. I mean, you'd have the best from one tour competing against, it'd be not necessarily like the Olympics, but something similar, the best of the best truly meeting and being able to play where they want. And,
we love these special events that you can do weird things and crazy things like the Ryder Cup. And, there's all sorts of different ways to approach the game. And it's nice to see that it is potentially a possibility. Now, maybe Live Golf isn't the one that does it, but it'd be nice to see eventually that is plausible. So,
and especially if the PGA can kind of not necessarily help this new tour along, but get on board from the start and set guidelines for that, help both of them go and not stepping on each other's toes, stealing guys, doing
exactly
court legal battles and whatnot.
A lot of headaches for such a relaxing game like golf.
Right. And I mean, Live, you can't see another company doing this. It's not a sustainable business model to lose billions and billions up front and hope you get it back if you do get it back. I mean,
right. Yeah. The amounts of money that they've been talking about in that league are just astronomical. Something that I still can't wrap my head around that amount of money. So I can see why. See why, definitely. So, but on to the topic at hand. We're talking the FedEx Cup playoff. You've been great at identifying key course factors that make a difference in which players you target every week in your DFS picks. The first event, the St. Jude Championship, is being held at TPC Southwind in Tennessee. What are some of the course factors do you see that play a key role this weekend? And do you see any golfers that maybe fit the bill to take advantage of those?
Yes. I mean, as we pointed out in our article this week, highlighting
And I
the whole
actually have that.
tournament.
We can actually pull that up here. I have your article, and we can go through some of the picks. It'll be great here. Yeah. So everybody can check out all of Travis's work at importantnonsense.com. He writes weekly DFS picks articles that are great. They go so in depth. They give you a perfect lineup. They fit the build on players that are, further down the list that you want to target, guys that you can't miss. A lot of great stuff here. So again, what were you thinking about this one here, Travis?
I mean, so TBC South Bend, it has been played before. It hosted the St. Jude Invitational for the World Golf Championship the last 3 years. We know the course. It is heavily tree lined, very tough fairways to hit. Golfers that can stay in the fairway are going to have a huge advantage this week. Greens here tend to be smaller than average, tougher to hit, tougher to stay on. So approach is going to be key. Those would be definitely my two biggest factors. And then the other key stats kind of play into them: fairways hit, and then greens in regulation. I mean, guys that can do that this week are going to be up top on that leaderboard. When we go into the article, I mean, someone like Matthew Fitzpatrick, number 1 in tee to green, and Will Zalatoris, number 2 in tee to green, 1 in approach, 9th in greens in regulation. I mean, that's just set up for success here in Memphis this week.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, especially when you break it down like that. These are guys that you can easily target that don't have maybe the highest price point. They're still decently pricey, but
still up there.
They're going to be guys that you're going to be able to bank on because they have this proven track record, and your system has broken that down extremely well. You have so many great picks here. Are there any other guys that you really want to highlight that you wrote about in this article?
So, I mean, right there, Aaron Wise, sort of lesser value. He's under your average salary. I mean, he's top 30 in all 3 of those categories mentioned. He's someone that might fly under the radar with so many names in here. JT Poston down there, this is the lowest we've seen him in about 4 or 5 weeks, mainly because we have a stacked field finally. But, I mean, you were paying $9,000 plus for him. He was in 10,000s in some of the smaller tournaments just 3 weeks ago. So could be some great value down there. I mean, you're never going to go wrong with McIlroys or Cam Smiths in this environment, this atmosphere. So
yeah, absolutely. And as a man who selected Rory Mcilroy in our best ball pup cup, again, go down to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code nonsense to play along. As a man who took Rory McIlroy with that selection, I was extremely excited to see him on your list, and I'm a big Rory fan. I hope to see him come out and really, dominate this week, and you really put me at ease with that one. So I greatly appreciate it. And then obviously Cameron Smith, like our guy Jason Draven was saying on our last show too, another guy to identify or another guy to target there. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I'm really, really excited. It's not often that you get to see these type of tournaments, and there's just so much cool stuff that can go on, and the storylines just go through the roof. This road through the playoff is really, really long. It's a 3 rounds. Only the truly great golfers survive and advance. Who are some of the guys that you're highlighting that maybe we haven't talked about today? Or are some of these guys guys that you fully expect to make it all the way through towards the end to be battling it out?
Definitely those first 4, I expect to probably see all 4 make it to the round of 30, which will be the final round. I mean, some of the guys not on there, you could see it. Xander Schauffele. He's been playing great golf right now. If he can stay up there, get a few more points, he should have a shot once they get to the final round. Tony Finau turned it on. I mean, he just turned the switch at the end of the year here. 2 wins back-to-back, a second. I mean, if he can keep that momentum going, it's just Scheffler has a very large lead right now. I think 1,200 points is what he has gapped between second place alone. And if he can just get top 20 finishes, I mean, he might walk away with this on his own. If he can slip, though, you're getting 2,000 points an event now. So, I mean, any one of these guys, if Scheffler really messes up somehow, I mean, Cam Smith could jump him theoretically. I don't necessarily see it happening right away, but those are some of the guys that are going to need these performances. unfortunately, a lot of the guys under 1,000 points right now, even if they win and Scheffler got 0, he's still ahead of them. I mean, it's just the tear that guy went on in the middle of the season has set him up to make it tough. I don't know if you've seen round 3. When it starts, it'll be staggered. So number 1's going to have a 10-stroke lead. Number 2 will have 8-stroke lead, and so forth. So, I mean, these guys are going to have to catch up some ground on Scotty Scheffler, and they're going to have to do it quick.
And that's a pretty big hill to climb, especially with Scotty Scheffler, with how great he has played. He's just been excuse me. He's just been dominant all season long, pretty much.
To your earlier point about taking time off, we haven't seen him for a while. So, I mean, if he's dialed in and just been focusing on what he needs to do these next 3 weeks, I mean, like I said, it's almost his to lose. Not quite with so many points on the line, but, I mean, he could easily run away with it with a win this week right there. So,
yeah. Right, definitely. The rust versus rest debate goes through literally every facet of sports we could name, and golf is no different. And it's going to be extremely interesting to watch these guys duke it out after some of them we haven't seen for nearly a month. So I'm super excited to see it all play out. So I'm going to ask you something I have a little bit off of the books here. So we have these courses down. Which of these courses is your favorite, or do you think is going to cause the most fireworks coming up?
In terms of the playoffs?
Yeah.
I think you'll see it probably this week. I mean, this course, there's a kind of fun note in the hazard this week. But I mean, Siwoo Kim last year set the course record for highest score on a hole that wasn't in a major with a 13 on the island. So, I mean, this is going to be a challenge to where the guys that aren't in the top 70 need points. The guys who are in between 30 and 70 need points to advance. So you're going to see a lot of high risk, high reward. Whereas when we get into the next one, guys in the top 10, 15, they know they need safer golf. Guys on the outside are going to have to play much more risky. So I think you're going to see the pace for all 3 weeks get set here in Memphis.
That's a great point, because this is going to be a great course to see it all, and it's going to set the tone for the whole thing, because, you know, like we said, some of these guys, they can't afford to wait to get to the end, because they'll be at a disadvantage and they'll have a hole to dig themselves out of, and nobody wants to do that.
And I mean, even like I said, Cam Smith's number 2 right now, and he's got a hole to dig out. So I mean, yeah, you're going to see fireworks, I think, this week, and it's going to be go big or go home for a lot of these guys. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it all play out. I'm actually really, really excited. As you can tell, I get pretty giddy with the golf a little bit more, because I am horrible at golf, but I like to get out there. I have a really, really mean slice. So to see guys that strike the ball extremely well, just effortlessly, and they actually get to play the game and not really like just search for their ball. See, I'm half decent after about 2 or 3 holes. I get a few beers in me, and I mean, my slice gets worse, but my mid-range, my mid-game, my short game gets a lot better. I tune it in, get a little bit confident. Travis, what's your best club in the bag right now? What do you hit the best?
Similar to you. I mean, it's the short game. I mean, chipping, pitch, wedge, those are going to be the shots I do the most, unfortunately, and definitely what I feel the best with. Drives, no. I mean, I'll have a few good ones every now and then, but not enough to keep track of on a whole 18 rounds. So
I guess that means we won't be able to scramble together, because we're just going to be a mess the whole round.
Right. Everyone else would love it, but yeah, no, it's
not. Absolutely. So, well, back on to what we were talking about here. So when it's all said and done, there's a lot that's going to go down. Who do you have raising the cup when it's all finished?
Well, kind of getting back, I think this is Scheffler's tournament to lose. I would love to see a guy like Cam Smith, even a Cam Young. I mean, kind of a feel-good story. A Will Zalatoris, if he can finally get some wins this next couple of weeks, would be great. But really, it's Scheffler's to lose. I mean, if he can just play like he's been doing, he's got the lead to where it's going to be very, very tough to catch that man. And like I said, without the exception of one of those top 10, even 15 range guys getting a victory soon, Scheffler could, like I said, just run away with this. I mean, it might get to where he's got that 10-stroke lead and nothing's going to stop him. So,
and humor me for a second, Travis. So we live in kind of a crazy world here. Let's just say Scotty Scheffler absolutely implodes right off the rip, and it's anybody's game. Do you have any dark horses that might pull this thing out and gain some ground?
So someone like a Davis Riley, very lesser known. I'm going to cheat real quick. Yeah, he's 23rd in points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone like that could come around. JT Poston, we mentioned earlier, he's been playing great golf down the stretch, taking advantage of some weaker fields. If he can keep that same style of golf going against these fields, like I said, one win for these guys, they're right up there with Scheffler. Especially if he loses, they might only be 100 or 200 points behind him. And now those guys get an 8-stroke advantage to his 10-stroke. You might see their momentum kick in. You might see someone be able to go a little more realistically, if you will. I do like someone like a Xander Schauffele, maybe a Colin Morikawa, who kind of didn't play as many events, a little further on the points, but one big week, they get right up there with Scheffler going into the second week of the playoffs. Puts a little pressure on him. You might see him slip. They've got the game. I mean, they could easily have 3 solid weeks and walk away $18 million richer. So,
hey, when you put that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, it brings the whole thing into perspective, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I might be a little crazy, but I kind of want to see the second scenario play out where it's all mayhem. And Scotty's on his toes.
Unless you're in the Scheffler family, yeah, you absolutely want to see excitement, fireworks. I mean, no one wants to just watch him walk away with it for 3 straight weeks.
Unless you're watching the show, Scotty. If you're watching the show, feel free to give me a DM on Twitter. I'd love to have you on the show. And then we would definitely not hold that against you. So
go back and read some of the posts from earlier in the year, though, Scotty. You'll be happy. We've given you quite a bit of love.
Yeah, Travis will definitely be in the friends and family list at the next event if he read some of your work. That's for sure. So that about does it for us. It was kind of a little bit of a quick hitter show. Really just the first event to talk about, and we might even be back for another one towards the end. Because this has been a lot of fun, and I love talking golf with you, Travis. Do you have any pluggables you want to plug before we head out of here?
I mean, we got 3 weeks left, but keep checking Important Nonsense. Every week we'll have our golf write-up on there. We've been doing decent most of these last couple of weeks, so just see what you see and let us know what you like.
And Travis, you're way too humble. Travis is an absolute assassin with his DFS slates. Go give him a look, give him a follow. You definitely won't be disappointed. I know I haven't. And I can't wait to talk to you again next time. For me, I've been Mason Cameron at PFF_Mace. If you want to yell at me on the Twitter, I'm probably not going to respond to you anyway, unless you talk nicely to me, just like the golfers on tour. So without further ado, we'll catch you guys next time.